So, welcome to today's Conversion Express, where in 15 minutes or less, you are going to learn a brief, simple, doable website lead strategy that you can apply to your website in minutes. So, let's get started here. And if this will work for me, here we go. Today's topic is fascinating. It's a hard one. So, it's how to figure out the 2 a.m. problem that you solve, because when you can figure that out, you can get more leads. And I want to set a foundation here about this topic, and that is that there are three truths that you need to know as to why understanding the 2 a.m. problem you solve is important. Okay. So, first of all, I want you to know that getting to the answer of the problem is actually much harder than finding a solution. And I think I need to reword that, because what I really mean is identifying the problem that you solve can be a lot harder than finding the solution. It can be like you're on I don't know, some kind of a detective mystery quest. It can be insane, really getting clear on that problem. Second truth is this, is that most humans don't want to change because change is hard. When we have to change our habits, our lifestyle, our beliefs, our values, that changes our identity, all kinds of things. This is hard, hard, hard. We don't want to change. It requires us to use a lot of brain power. It can shake up who asking questions as to who we are and kind of start questioning a lot of things. It's change is super hard for humans, okay? We don't want to go through the pain of the change, but we still want the benefits, which leads to the third truth, and that is this. Most humans will make a change when the pain of not changing is actually more painful than the pain of change. Okay, that is really important to understand. This is the 2 a.m. problem right here. Okay, now let's get into 2 a.m. problems. So, got my little drawing here. We've got our ITC over here, which is our ideal target customer or client. And they really want to get up here to this platform of success up here. Except their journey is kind of fraught with some challenges, right? They've got to get over this gap here that just falls down to darkness that they can't even see. Then they got to climb up this mountain, which is their 2 a.m. problem, to try and get closer to a solution. But even when they get to the end, the top of this mountain, there's still another gap they've got to go through to get to the platform of success. And I'm only going to focus on this middle part here, their 2 a.m. problem. And 2 a.m. problems, these are not 2 p.m. problems. These are not, I'm hungry and I need a snack in the afternoon kind of thing, right? These are things that are important and urgent. They are stressful and painful. They disrupt our sleep. They consume our thoughts. They reduce our patience because we're under a lot of stress. And if it's big enough, that this 2 a.m. problem is big enough, it can actually disrupt our life for a period of time. That really sucks. So, this is an important part, though, to understand to this 2 a.m. problem is that sometimes your ITC may not even be aware that they have a 2 a.m. problem yet. What I mean by this is you could be living your life and have cancer. You completely don't even know it. You could be consumed in your business and not even realize that your children are feeling neglected or your spouse is feeling neglected. So there could be 2 a.m. problems occurring that you're not aware of yet. That doesn't mean they're not there. But how can you find the 2 a.m. problem that you solve? Because that is what you want to get to. If you can very clearly and accurately identify or find the 2 a.m. problem that you solve, this is gold. This is going to help you make so many of your decisions in your business. So I want to introduce us with a story. And there are these founders, Anthony Tan and Tan Hui Ling, and they live in Southeast Asia. And they observed that in Southeast Asia, there was always a gap between the wealthy and the poor, but they noticed the gap was getting bigger and bigger. And they made an observation. So they had this observation, and anyone could have an observation. But then they had a lot of emotion attached to this observation. And it was that emotion that started getting them to question because they recognized, for whatever reason, maybe it was their own life experiences or whatever, they recognized that if this gap continued to get bigger down the road, that meant people were probably going to start rioting. There's going to be more conflict. There's going to be a lot of problems because people will respond when their physical needs are not being met, when they don't have enough clean water, food, shelter, just the basic everyday needs. If those are not met, people will retaliate and they will respond negatively to get to survive, right? And they knew this. And they did not want to wait till that crisis point was reached before doing something about it. So they started asking this question: how can we lift those that they call it the bottom of the pyramid and help them to rise? How can we do that? And so this question resulted in this answer. They created an app called Grab, and it is specific to Southeast Asia. This is a ride-hailing, food delivery, and digital payment service app that's on mobile devices. It specifically serves the needs of those living at the bottom of the pyramid because what they observed was that 60% of the people at the bottom of this pyramid were people in the transportation industry, I'm going to say. These were the taxi drivers. These are people that are transporting people around by bike or perhaps other very manual labor type ways. But these were the people that were on the bottom of the pyramid, that were the furthest from the wealth, and that were the majority of the people. I think it was, like I said, about 60% of them were in the transportation industry in some way, trying to transport people from one place to another. And they were the poorest at the bottom of this pyramid. And so that's why they came up with this answer. And like I said, it only serves those who live in Southeast Asia. It's specific to their needs. And it's had a positive impact on the group that they want to help. Now, there's an important lesson to this story, is that they didn't go into this thinking, what's the 2 a.m. problem that I solve? The reason you do not want to approach the question this way, now you've made it about you. It's about you having certain skills or things like that to you think that can help your ITC, but you haven't actually, you're not approaching it from what is it that they actually need. You're approaching it from what can I do, what can I do to solve this issue without actually finding out what you need from the ITC to be able to actually give them something that they want. Because when you approach the question this way or the problem this way by asking what's the 2 a.m. problem I solve, you may create a product or solution that your ITC doesn't even want because you haven't really gotten deep into figuring out what are their needs. So I want you to approach answering the question about that 2 a.m. problem this way. This is the real question. If you can get to this question, you have struck gold. And this is the question: what 2 a.m. problem does my ITC need solved? Now, going back to the story I shared earlier, you recognize that the founders had one question. They saw a bigger problem, a bigger general problem, and saw a way to help many people. But if you were to have talked to one taxi driver, they would have not expressed their problem as being there's a real gap between the poor like me and the wealthy, and I want to do something about it, they are expressing it like, I don't have enough money to buy 3 meals a day, so we're eating 1 meal a day. I am in living conditions where there are rats and mice, and it's disgusting and I hate it. I can't support my family properly. They're hungry. We're living amongst disease-ridden rodents and things like that. They are describing the picture very differently, but the problem is still because of wealth. And so I want you to be aware of that, that the answer you come up with needs to still be in alignment, no matter how you describe it, it still needs to be in alignment with the needs of your ITC. And so now that you know how to figure out the 2 a.m. problem, what is the question you really need to ask? I now want you to take that learning, and this video here is going to help you to stop competing on price. It's a great segue and a really great marriage between what I just taught you now and then applying identifying value propositions. And then there's a case study with Uber and taxis that's very applicable to what you just learned today. So go check that out.